RFPs that only ask for features get demos. RFPs that ask for assurance get systems you can operate. This AiQualtest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for Enterprise AI RFP Checklist in 2026. Use a simple operating loop: require, compare, pilot, and decide. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: procurement shapes long-term risk. Checklists force vendors to evidence testing, monitoring, and data controls. Buyers gain comparable responses and stronger contracts. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Assurance requirements. Require eval methods, safety testing, and monitoring capabilities in the RFP. Make them scored. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: Evidence requests. Ask for sample scorecards, incident processes, and subprocessors. Claims need artifacts. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Pilot protocol. Define your eval packs and success criteria for PCS. Do not let vendors grade their own homework. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Security and privacy. Include residency, training use, encryption, and access controls as must-haves. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Operability. Score logging, version pins, rollback, and admin controls. Day 2 ops matter. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: Commercial alignment. Clarify SLAs for quality incidents, not only uptime. Incentives should match risk. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: hospital system issuing an RFP for an ambient clinical documentation vendor. The checklist required hallucination eval methods, PHI handling, and rollback controls. 2 flashy demos failed the pilot protocol on groundedness. The winning vendor provided evidence packs and accepted quality incident SLAs. Clinical leadership credited the RFP design for avoiding a risky buy. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: Scoring demos heavier than assurance evidence. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: Letting vendors define POC success alone. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: Omitting day 2 operability from scoring. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: Ignoring quality incident SLAs in contracts. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline: small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: Put assurance and evidence into scored RFP sections. Takeaway 2: Run buyer-owned pilot protocols. Takeaway 3: Score security, privacy, and operability as must-haves. Takeaway 4: Align commercial terms with quality risk. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: add an assurance evidence section to your next AI RFP scoring sheet. Then, write a buyer-owned pilot protocol with your gold and safety packs. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence. Visit aiqualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners: treat Enterprise AI RFP Checklist as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners. When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo. Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be reproduced.